All right, y'all, this is 4K at 60 frames per second, rock steady. 4K, 60 frames per second, rock steady, and it is overcast. So this is 4K at 30 frames per second. 30 frames. Again, this is 4K at 30 frames per second. 4K, 30 frames per second. All right, this is 2.7K at 60 frames per second. 2.7K, 60 frames per second. .7K at 60 frames per second. So this is 2.7K at, oh, look at him. He just fell over. 2.7K at 30 frames per second. 2.7K, 30 frames per second. Up close. All right, this is 1080p at 60 frames per second. 1080p, 60 frames per second. All right, this is 1080p, 60 frames per second. Up close, 1080p, 60 frames per second. All right, this is 1080p at 30 frames per second. 30 frames. And then 1080p at 30 frames per second. And then we have an up close shot too as well.